All rise for the jury.
There are some cases that twist and turn so wildly, you start to wonder if you're watching a full-blown Hollywood movie instead of flipping through an actual criminal file. The kind where you think you finally got your foot, like you got your footing, but then the story yanks the rug right out under you. You're left blinking at the page like there's no way this is real. But it is. And few stories prove better than the case of Betsy Faria. Welcome back to another episode of Justice 4. We are your host.
I'm Jackie.
And I'm Sam. Really quick, shameless plug. So, I know you guys saw it last week, but we're in our new studio. We ordered some other stuff for our background, and it hasn't come in yet.
Sorry, we waited for some Black Friday deals.
Say lovey.
Because who doesn't?
Yeah.
We heard the feedback on the audio. Hopefully we have it fixed. We spent some time playing around with that this morning. And as of yesterday, because we are recording this the day after Black Friday, we have our first official merch collection out. Holiday merch collection. Oh my gosh, my bad. Not our first merch collection. First holiday merch collection. And they are $15 for t-shirts, $20 for the crew neck sweatshirts, which by the way are so warm and comfy.
They are.
I wore my Buckle Up Buttercup one all day yesterday. I did not want to take that off.
Yeah.
There's a 15% off discount code. You can find it on our website.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be linked below in the description for this. It's good until December 31st so that you can use that, gift card and good money after Christmas.
Yeah.
To get some extra goodies.
Absolutely. Shipping is always free. We didn't change that. So go and get merch as much as you can, just so you can wear it to our live show. That's going to be in January 30th to be exact. It is a Friday this time, and your girl's got a good story for it. This episode, it's not a story, I guess, that I'm telling you guys today was a contender for that. So if you think this one's good, just imagine how the live show one's going to be.
I need you to know that I've heard at least 2 different times. She's like, this was going to be my live episode, but now I'm going to do it today.
Just today she has heard it.
So yeah, really excited. Make sure you're following us everywhere at justice4podcast.com, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, all those places that you never miss an update. You can always see when new episodes release. You get merch codes, and when we release new merch, more information about our live show that's coming up. So just all the good fun things that we're doing.
And there's been some stuff in the headlines recently on some cases that we covered that we're putting out updates on. So make sure you follow us so you can see all of that as well.
Because sometimes things unfold too quickly or rapidly for us to be putting out videos constantly over and over and edit them. So we will put out really good informational posts, usually with links to go and read other articles so you guys can see it. But we have just recently come up with a way to start updating you guys on episodes. So you might want to hit that subscribe and follow button so you get the notifications, because you never know when an extra little bonus episode is going to start popping up on you guys.
Yes. Also, your girl is sick. I'm sorry.
She's been trying really hard to kick this before today, but you sound a lot better than you have in the past few days.
Thank you. It's been hell. I'll tell you that.
So give her some leeway, but it should be good.
Yes.
We've ate and taken meds, and we have the hot tea, so it'll be good.
We do. But right now, I need y'all to grab your tea, your popcorn. Make sure you went to the potty really quick, because I cannot pull this car over. I'm not stop driving. Are you ready?
You didn't give me any popcorn.
I don't got popcorn for you, brother. Do you want me to get your breakfast burrito?
No, it's okay. And I don't really like popcorn that much anyway, because it gets stuck in my gums.
Floss.
I know, but sometimes
you like the picks?
Yeah, it does, but it's still a pain in the butt.
That's fair. That's totally fair.
Anyway, sorry, we're moving on.
Once you're all ready, I need y'all to buckle the fuck up.
I'm going to do a cross buckle.
You need a few buckles
80s where it would in the back.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Hell yeah.
So we've got a triple buckle going on right now. From the pictures, from the number of pages this script is that I've heard of. Y'all be lucky if it's not 2 parts.
We'll see.
We're debating.
All I'm saying is this is about to be a long one, y'all. Now, who is Betsy Faria?
I don't know. Who is she?
Betsy was born Elizabeth K. Meyer on March 24th of 1969 in Richmond Heights, Missouri, to Ken and Janet Meyer.
Okay.
People described her as someone who was very full of life, always there for them, and the kind of person who would actually light up a room when she walked into it. Also, if I die before you, look, when I die before you, please don't lie. Don't say that at my funeral.
She doesn't light up a room. She really doesn't. She
No.
darkens the doorways.
I am an absolute fucking nightmare, and I'm very aware of it, okay?
We're menaces.
But I do condone everyone can have a battle royale for all my shit.
Oh, yeah. But also, okay, I get all your purses, first of all. I'll fight Alicia for them. And second of all...
There's so many. You guys give her at least one or two.
Don't ever say that I lit up a room. You can say I talked way too fucking much all the goddamn time, but don't ever say I lit up a room because I didn't. There's never a room I've walked in that's lit up unless it had my toddler in it. That's about it.
I don't light up rooms. Anyway, Betsy just seemed like this super positive and genuine person, and she made friends with everyone that she would meet. She made everyone feel special. She had many friends in high school that carried throughout life, which is pretty rare, I feel.
Yeah.
She actually had a friend named Rita that she introduced to her husband, and then she ended up DJing at her wedding.
Love this.
Yeah. With that, she was a part-time DJ, and she would play weddings and birthdays. And I feel like you have to be like a special kind of person to be a DJ for those types of events.
Yeah.
And Betsy was that kind of person. She was always able to get people on the dance floor and just be the life of the party.
Okay, we may have found the person who does actually light up a room when they enter it.
You saw her pictures.
I did see her pictures. She does.
Literally just emanates light, I feel.
She radiates it?
Yes.
Okay, Betsy, okay.
Yes. She had a babysitter growing up named Bobby, and they actually remained super good friends as they got older. And if that doesn't show what kind of person she was, then I'm not sure what can.
Yeah, lifelong friender right there.
Yeah, absolutely. Betsy was in a previous relationship. This man has nothing to do with this story, except for the fact that they shared 2 daughters together, Mariah and Leah. Betsy always wanted to be a mom. Like, it was one of her goals in life.
Yeah.
So when she had them, she was just thriving.
Yeah.
Then one day in 1998, while Betsy was working at a gas station, there was a man who hung out there frequently. They had casual chats, and it eventually turned into like a courtship. Then on January 21st, 2000, Betsy married Russ Faria.
This is such a 90s 2000 love story. I met him at the gas station.
Yeah.
And we kept talking. Like now, if you it's fine to talk to the gas station guy every morning when you go to get your Red Bull, but once he starts hitting on you, now it's weird and we're out.
Yeah. We don't.
It would just never happen nowadays. Yeah, never happen nowadays.
Yes. But now, who the fuck is Russ Faria?
Yeah, I want to know about Russ though, because apparently he had enough game as a gas station attendant to
She was the gas station attendant.
Oh, she was the gas station.
He frequented there.
Oh, my bad. I had that backwards. This is where it is okay. We're such a backwards society. I'm like, oh, that's fine. She picked him up while she was working? Not creepy.
Russell Faria, who went by Russ, was born on February 12th, 1970. People called Russ a very honest man who enjoyed the simple pleasures of life. He loved anything outdoors, but mostly loved to fish and ride his motorcycle. He had a trademark about him that everyone knew him by, and I bet you can't guess what it is, based off of all the pictures I showed you.
What?
His fedora. He always wore a fedora. When he wasn't wearing a fedora, he would be wearing a bandana.
This is like early 2000s, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so listen. The other day I was showing Nicole pictures of me from high school, and there's this picture of me in a fedora and almost a Michael Jackson pose in the bathroom mirror at my parents' house. And she goes, "Mom, what are you wearing?" And I was like, and it was an Affliction style t-shirt. It was white with it wasn't Affliction, but it was that style of all that, the gothic-y, Hardy. Well, kind of, but it was fleur-de-lis that were raised velvety on the white and all the different designs. And I had on a pair of hydraulic ripped jeans that had this back behind it because my parents would let me wear actual ripped jeans. And I had my boyfriend in high school who's brown and yellow striped fedora. And it's and I thought that was my profile picture for so long. I thought I was so cool. And Nicole goes, "Mom, this is embarrassing."
Oh, brother. Anyway.
So fedoras were in the 2000s. Don't judge people, okay? Fedoras were cool. Maybe.
Anyway, because of this, a lot of people would think he was like rough around the edges and tough, but in reality, he was like a huge teddy bear. And Betsy said that was why she fell in love with him. Not because of his fedora, because of his teddy bear.
I need people to know that absolutely nobody thinks anyone wearing a fedora is tough, unless you're an Italian mobster in like the 40s, and that is where the line is being drawn, guys. But the bandana, yes, I could see that. Yeah. But it was probably Karate Kid style, so.
I showed you pictures. It wasn't super fun. It was like pretty.
Okay.
Yeah.
I wasn't paying attention to the accessories. I didn't know they were going to come into play like this.
That's fair. That's fair. After they got married, they moved to Troy, Missouri. This is when Betsy convinced Russ to go back to school, and he did. He got his degree and ended up getting a job for Enterprise as IT.
All right.
At this time, Betsy also got a job working for State Farm. Everything was going really well. They really loved each other, but like every relationship, they had a couple of ups and downs. Russ even said they had separated a couple of times, but by 2010, Betsy ended up being diagnosed with breast cancer.
Oh.
So in January of 2010, she underwent a mastectomy where they
take the tatas.
They take them. This is when Russ and Betsy really reconnected and wanted to make things work between them. They moved into a new house in March, and they said it just felt like a fresh start for them. Russ even said, quote, "These were the best years of our relationship," end quote.
Aww.
Between 2010 and 2011, Betsy was doing chemotherapy. Many of her friends and family would come with her to the treatments just so she wasn't by herself. There was a brief window that things actually seemed super stable and they were very hopeful. At this time, they decided to plan a celebration of life cruise and they invited all of their closest family and friends. Betsy had a lifelong dream of swimming with dolphins, and she wanted to make it happen more than anything.
I also have that same dream, Betsy.
Mm-hmm. They planned this cruise for November of 2011. There were many sources that say that she went into remission.
Okay.
But there are no publicly documented, there's nothing publicly documented that says Betsy actually went into remission.
Okay, no doctor paperwork or anything, no medical records that say she went into remission. It was just something that was talked about.
Yes. But from everything I personally read, she never went into remission.
Well, I wonder if it's how they're not allowed to say they're in remission until a year after, or there's so much time. So maybe she was in that window where she was on the way to being declared remission. Mm-hmm. But I feel like it's 6 months or a year. That depends on the cancer, I think. So that could be where that gray area sits in there.
Yeah. So October of 2011, so 1 month before the cruise, she was told that the cancer had metastasized to her liver and she had very limited time left.
Oh no.
She was told she had maybe 3 to 4 years left to live.
Okay, that's more time than I thought that she was going to get. 3 to 4 years. I mean, that's not a long time, but that's more than when people get 3 to 6 months.
So there was another podcast that I listened to on this case, and they said she only had weeks or months. And I was like, everything I read, though, never said that. So I'm not sure where some people were getting these sources.
Or maybe that's where they were at in their timeline, that she only had weeks or months left to live. And also sometimes it sounds more traumatic that way.
Maybe. But she had time.
Okay.
She had time.
Because they planned this cruise and did the whole end of Yeah. Okay.
So this was an absolute blow to them, though. But she agreed to continue her treatment and, of course, still go on the cruise because she was going to swim with those dolphins.
Yeah.
Everyone that went on this cruise said it was a great trip. And Betsy was able to swim with dolphins and loved every single minute of it.
Oh, I love that.
Once they returned, they set their sights on the upcoming holidays, and Betsy was still going to her treatments and remaining as positive as she absolutely could. They spent the holidays with friends and family and spent as much time together as possible, so her and Russ. Then, on Tuesday, December 27th, everything changed.
Okay.
Russ had plans to have dinner with his mom, which he actually had dinner with her once a week.
Oh, that's so
I
sweet.
know.
I love that.
I know. Which I think just adds another layer of that, like, teddy bear-ness to his
He's a very
character.
family guy, and
Yeah.
like calling the years of her having cancer like the best years of their life, like
Yes.
where they were the closest and connected. Not like the best years, but like their relationship wise
was
the strongest. Yeah,
absolutely. So on Tuesdays, he also went to his friend's house and they played D&D. Hey,
she always got to have that D&D relation.
I have to.
But that's cool. Yeah, and his teddy bear facade is really
Just it's
yeah. We're coming through here. Yeah.
Betsy stayed at her mom's house on Monday night because she had chemo the next day and her mom was going to take her to it.
Okay.
Then Russ was going to pick her up from chemo. They had a plan in place. Easy peasy.
Sounds good.
But then Betsy texted Russ saying that he no longer needed to pick her up because she was going to get a ride home from her friend. But she didn't have her house keys. So Russ told her that he would leave the door unlocked for her so she could get in. Russ worked from home until about 5 p.m. and left the house to run a couple of errands.
Yeah.
Go to a couple of stores before he went to his game. At 5:16 p.m., he stopped at a Conoco gas station for gas. He left at 5:20 p.m. This was caught on surveillance. He realized that he needed to make a couple more stops as well, and he wouldn't have time to have dinner with his mom. So he called her at 5:22 p.m. and told her that they needed to reschedule. At 5:31 p.m., he stopped at U Gas to buy cigarettes, which is another gas station. He left at 5:32 p.m. This was also caught on surveillance. At 5:52 p.m., he stops at Green's Country Store where he buys a bag of dog food. This is backed by a time-stamped receipt.
Okay.
At 5:56 p.m., he stops at Quick Trip and buys 2 bottles of iced tea and a bottle of Snapple. He left at 5:58 p.m. This was caught on surveillance.
He couldn't do that at the earlier gas station?
That was my thoughts exactly. Also, good on him for knowing what he wanted to drink because my ass stands there and just stares. He did that shit in 2 minutes. Men in their shopping.
Yeah. They generally, yeah.
So, he was at his friend Mike Corbin's house by 6 p.m. So he had to live right next to that fucking gas station. One of the guys who was in the group couldn't make it that night, so they decided they weren't going to play their game and they were going to smoke a little weed and watch movies, which included the new Conan the Barbarian and part of the movie The Road.
Homeboy, you could have gone to dinner with your mom.
He already rescheduled with her.
I know it.
Also, like, I'm in D&D groups, if you can't tell, and like if someone's not there, you sometimes can't play.
Yeah, depending on where you are in your campaign.
Yeah.
Are you proud of me?
I am very proud of you. But like sometimes they need that specific character for what's happening. Is a whole thing. So like I get why they didn't do it.
Don't be too proud of me. I just watched 4 episodes of Stranger Things.
Oh yeah. So around 9 p.m., Russ and 2 of the other guys leave Mike's house.
Okay.
Since he didn't have dinner with his mom and was smoking a little weed, I know that man had the munchies. So he stopped at Arby's. At 9:09 p.m., Russ went through the drive-thru at Arby's on Raymond Drive, where he ordered 2 junior cheddar melts. This was backed by a time-stamped receipt, and he ate the food on his drive home. He then drove home roughly 25 miles. He arrived home between 9:35 to 9:40 p.m. He walks in, sets the dog food down by the door, takes off his jacket, and that's when he sees his wife, Betsy, on the living room floor, covered in blood. At 9:40 and 10 seconds p.m., sorry, it's very specific, the 911 call from Russ connects with the dispatcher. Let's have a listen.
Russ Faria began by sobbing.
What is the address where you need us to come? Okay, just take a couple deep breaths for me. How long have you gone today?
Did you happen to catch that? He told police dispatch that he believes Betsy killed herself.
I didn't hear him say that. The dispatcher asked if she was suicidal, and he said she has cancer.
Oh no, he straight up said, I think my wife killed herself.
Oh, I did not catch that part. I just heard, oh, that's why the dispatcher said, did you think she was suicidal?
Yeah.
Got you. I just thought that was like a normal line of questioning just to see what like the response was or whatever, like in their training.
Yeah.
No, I did not.
I hope you guys did. Go back and watch it again if you want. This is where I do need to point out that Betsy did try to commit suicide once by slashing her wrist.
Okay.
And one of the wounds that Betsy had on this night was her wrist was slashed. So he thought that she had actually gone through with it this time. However, what he didn't realize was that the slashes on her wrist went all the way to the bone.
Oh my God.
He obviously didn't get a good look at the rest of her body either, because she had a lot more wounds than just her wrist. Betsy had been stabbed through her skull into her left eye. She had also been stabbed in the throat, and the knife was still lodged in there. They ended up counting 55 stab wounds.
Oh my God.
Most of them were covered by her clothes and all of the blood. And that's mostly why Russ didn't see them. When paramedics arrived, they said that she was already in rigor and had been dead for at least an hour before Russ called the police. 42-year-old Betsy Faria was stabbed to death.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just going through the timeline in my head. Keep going.
Mm-hmm. A wife found dead, husband being the one to find her. Who is statistically more likely to kill their spouse? And who do you think investigators zeroed in on?
Obviously Russ, but you gave us this whole timeline in detail so that we can skip past him now. Right?
They said he was emotional, but he had very limited tears coming out of his eyes. So they assumed that he was putting on an act. They said his emotions were just too weird for the situation. One moment he would be very calm, and then the next moment he would be breaking down and extremely hysterical. One officer came up and asked Russ why he didn't embrace his wife's body when he first saw her. Why didn't he get on the ground and hug her and cry holding her body?
Oh, be for real. Are you serious? Because,
Yeah.
okay, there is no, like, guidebook on how to act when you find somebody.
Yeah.
And thinking about the tear thing, I don't think I actually physically cried tears until hours after the Sean situation was over.
Yeah.
Hours.
Your body's in shock,
It
dude.
is. In that moment there, I don't think I cried at all. I don't even at the, I don't even think at the hospital. I was still just in so much shock.
Yeah. Yeah.
For like hours. I don't think I cried until that night when I was telling my sister about it.
The thing is though, like, trauma responses are so different for every single person, that like some people may break down into crying, some people can get angry. Who knows? And like, I recently found out some pretty awful stuff, and like, I would be crying 1 minute and then I'm totally fine, and then 5 minutes later I'm crying again. Like,
honestly, him not embracing the body is giving me a sign of innocence more than guilt, because how many times have we had an episode where they immediately touch the body, carry the body, do something?
Yes. Like, that's the other thing. Why would you ask that? Like, the thing is, though, they probably would have completely reprimanded him if he touched her.
Yeah, it's a damned if you do, damned if you don't situation for him in this regard.
Honestly, though, I know this case. I know this story. I'm extremely thankful he didn't. And you'll find out why soon. We'll find out why soon.
It's like me at Campos.
Yeah. Oh,
When he just like threw himself on her body.
Yeah. So, when investigators searched the house, they found men's slippers with blood on them, kind of like tossed in the back of a closet. They brought him into the station. I know, weird. They brought him into the station for interrogation, and while he was in the room waiting, he just kept saying, "No, Betsy, no," and he was crying and praying. But of course, investigators thought it was all an act. He continued to take detectives through his night and even provided the receipts from the shops. And like I told y'all, they were stamped. He was on surveillance. He explained how he was at his game night, but ended up smoking weed and watching movies. And he just kept saying, "I wasn't there. I didn't kill her." He explained to them multiple times he was not the one that drove her home from chemo. And the friend that drove her home was Pam Hupp. She must be the last one to see her alive. He was interrogated for 10 hours.
10 hours?
10 hours.
And like, was this interrogation like immediately after? Like
Yes.
they took him from the house at like 9 something at night?
9:40.
9:40 at night. And then he went for, so this man up for well over 24 hours.
I'll actually tell you exactly how much soon.
Wonderful.
But
wonderful.
First and foremost, who the fuck is Pam Hupp?
Well, I've been wondering that since you showed me pictures before we started this, because
who the fuck is Pam Hupp?
If you can't tell by this picture, she looks like a fucking psychopath.
Yeah. Pam Hupp, born Pamela Marie Newman, was born on October 10th, 1958. She grew up in a pretty typical middle-class Catholic household.
She's like 10 years older than they are.
Yeah. She grew up in a middle-class Catholic household in Delwood, Missouri. Nothing about her early life screamed danger at all.
Okay.
She was the blonde, bubbly pom-pom girl at Riverview Gardens High School, the one with the loud laugh and a reputation for being boy crazy. Right after graduation, she got pregnant. She ended up marrying baby daddy very young. And while her friends went off to college, she was suddenly juggling a baby in a small apartment. She said she felt like she was watching everyone she knew pursue their dreams while she was stuck at home.
Aw, we peaked in high school and then we're mad about the consequences of our own actions.
Kind
of. Aw.
That first marriage lasted about 6 years before she divorced. And later, she ended up marrying Mark Hupp, who was a soft-spoken and very patient man. He was a former minor league baseball player for the Texas Rangers.
Okay.
And he eventually turned into a carpenter. He was able to provide for her and her daughter, and they eventually moved to Florida, where Pam ended up getting pregnant again and having a son in 1989.
Okay.
They eventually moved back to Missouri and settled in O'Fallon, where they would buy and flip houses. Pam was pretty cheap and didn't really like spending money on certain things, and that included also going on vacations.
Like she didn't like to go on vacations, or was very like
She didn't like spending money to go on vacations.
Okay, so like I don't like to spend money, but I ball on a budget and I still go on vacation. You just got to find them deals, Pam.
I know.
You got to find those deals.
I agree. She worked various insurance jobs, though she had quietly been fired more than once for forging signatures. She ended up working at State Farm, and that is how she connected with Betsy. Coworkers said she seemed mature and logical, always the first one in the office, but there were also those little red flags. There was like these weird forged letters. She also had a habit of inserting herself into other people's business. At one point, she claimed that she worked for the CIA or the FBI and was like, "Oh, I have this security clearance. I can't tell you guys anything about it, though."
Are you serious?
Yeah.
She's giving like, why is this the most stereotypical? I peaked in high school. I hate my life. Let me work in insurance and forge things. Like, that stereotype exists for a reason.
She also strangely had a shaky relationship with money.
Shocking. She liked to forge things. I'm not surprised.
I know. Then, coworkers started noticing that some of the cars in the parking lot were being keyed. There were also reports of this happening in Mark and Pam's neighborhood as well. Coincidence?
There are no coincidences. No, there are no coincidences in true crime. We know this. We know this.
The forged letters I mentioned earlier were also like nasty, spiteful things being said and like were put into random people's mailboxes, but people never really thought anything about it and never really connected it to Pam either. But like,
What are we doing, Pam?
she did get kind of mouthy with some of the neighbors as well, and I'm not sure exactly what for, but I felt like I needed to put this in here so I could paint like a picture of who Pam was. Like, she's not the most social person, and she didn't have a lot of friends either.
Okay.
Yeah. By 2010, before Betsy was diagnosed with cancer, Pam was working at State Farm and she got injured. She claimed disability for back, neck, and leg pain and was able to stop working altogether. On the surface, she looked like any other suburban mom with a tidy life, a Catholic background, and a stable family. But underneath that, there was this unsettling pattern of manipulation, secrecy, and questionable behavior that nobody really paid attention to till it was too late. By the time that Betsy was diagnosed, her and Pam were not really talking since they were mostly just like work buddies. But Pam heard about the news about Betsy and reached out to her to see if she could help her in any way. Betsy, being the most social person, of course said yes. Pam started taking Betsy to her chemo appointments and would just come and hang out if someone else took her to her appointment. She would just come hang out.
Yeah.
That's cool. So she became a pretty significant person in Betsy's life. However, she did not go on the cruise with everyone. I'm not sure if it's because she didn't like spending money on vacations, or if she wasn't invited, or if she didn't know everyone well enough.
Yeah.
I don't know. Once Betsy got back from the cruise, Pam and her spent almost every day together. Around this time, Betsy had told some people about her concern about her life insurance. According to Ken, Betsy's dad, she was mainly concerned that Russ would not use the money. So her life insurance was $150K at the time.
Okay.
She didn't think he would use it well and wouldn't save it properly. And she was worried that her daughters would just blow it.
Okay, she wasn't worried about him misusing it. She was worried about the daughters.
Both.
Both? Oh.
Yeah.
None of them were good with money. Heard.
Yeah.
And what are her daughters like in their early 20s at this point?
Her daughters, one was 21 and one was 17.
Oh, no. Listen, now that I'm 34, I would love to say that if I got $20,000 at that age, I would have used it appropriately. But as Facebook memories just reminded me, I was living in an apartment at 18 trying to choose between a new iPad or Drake tickets for Christmas one year when I had no business buying either one of those things. By the way, I got an iPad.
Jesus.
I wish I would have bought the Drake tickets. I don't even know where that iPad is.
Oh my goodness. With all of this new information that detectives have been given about Pam being the last person to see Betsy alive, they decided to bring her in just to chat.
Okay, cool. So Russ gets a 10-hour interrogation and Pam gets a little chit-chat?
A little chit-chat. I'm going to tell y'all right now, things are about to get very fucking confusing. Trust me, y'all. I'm trying to get all of the information to you as easy as possible. It'll all come together. Just stick with me, okay? Stick to me.
Oh, like glue, like white
Stick
cookies.
to me like caramel. You don't know Sleep Token. It's fine. So.
This is how she feels when I quote Taylor Swift.
Exactly.
I love this for us.
Are we like golden retriever black cat type situation?
But Taylor Swift likes cats, so can I be like a white fluffy Maine Coon prissy cat?
You're an orange cat.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. That's fine. I'll accept this. On December 28th, they bring Pam in to chat with her. They explain how she went to chemo with Betsy, dropped her off at home about 7 p.m., and she went home and watched TV with her husband, took a shower, and went to bed. Cool. So they asked her again, like, let's just go over the details of your day one more time. Ugh, fine. I got to Janet's house to take Betsy to chemo. Janet told me she left with her friend Bobby. I had no idea that Bobby was going to take her, but I wanted to spend some time with Betsy, so I went to the chemo appointment anyway. I was already there, so I thought I should be nice and drive her back home, especially since she asked me to give her a ride. But then she went back to her mom's house with Bobby, so I went home and watched TV with Mark and went to bed.
But wait, the first time she said she took her home and then she went home to watch TV.
Oh, so you didn't drop her off at home? And why don't you tell us about your day again? Because we're just a little confused now. So according to Janet, who is Betsy's mom, Betsy texted Pam stating that she was going to chemo with her friend Bobby and she wanted to spend some one-on-one time with her. Bobby was the babysitter.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Pam actually responded to this text message saying, bummer. Pam told detectives that she had no idea that Bobby was taking Betsy to her appointment, so she showed up at her mom's apartment. She also claims that she never got this text message that she responded to.
Huh?
She did, however, show up to the chemo appointment and completely intruded on the alone time Betsy was having with Bobby. They were both super confused and kind of taken aback, when she showed up. The fuck? Okay.
Question. So had they talked to Janet yet before they are in the interview with Pam? Okay.
So I want to stress they did talk to Pam, Janet, Russ, all immediate people the night it happened.
And then they ended up.
This is their first.
But then then Pam's name kept coming up too many times.
Yeah. So they brought her in for further questioning. So Pam also insisted that she drive Betsy home. So Betsy texted Russ, like I told you she did, but this is how the conversation went. Quote, Pam Hupp wants to bring me home to bed. End quote. Russ, quote, she is bringing you? End quote. Betsy, yes, she offered and I accepted. Didn't get much sleep. Mom snored. End quote.
Okay.
Pam told detectives that Betsy practically begged her for a ride home, but she ultimately went back to her mom's apartment with Bobby, and that's where they decided to play a game. While Pam went home and had dinner with Mark, but then she came back to Janet's apartment to pick up Betsy once they were done playing their game and took her home around 7 p.m.
You know what? I am so glad that at least taking her home at 7 p.m. is the only thing staying consistent in this.
Yes.
And you know what's crazy? Is that, he didn't come home until 9:40. She'd been dead for about an hour. So you know what? I'm going to assume that they were back home around 7 p.m. I'm just going to say.
So when she pulled into Betsy's driveway, she called Mark to let him know where she was, but he didn't answer and it went to voicemail. She actually put Betsy on the phone to say Merry Christmas to Mark's voicemail. This is a real message that was left, and Mark confirms that Betsy sounded like her normal bubbly self.
And this was at what time?
7.
When they got home?
Uh-huh. She then told investigators that she felt very uneasy leaving Betsy because her doors were unlocked, because she always had her keys. They were always in her purse. There were no lights on in the house.
But Betsy didn't have her key. That was her problem, remember?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Betsy usually always has her key.
And that's why the doors were unlocked, was because she didn't have her key.
And she feels so uneasy about leaving her there because her doors were locked. But she thought Russ was home because his car was in the driveway. It was a Nissan Maxima. Oh, wait. Actually, she said it was a Ford Explorer SUV. She said she wasn't sure. She wasn't sure also if she should leave her home alone with Russ.
So did she go inside and make a cup of tea and hang out and just protect her?
before we get to that part, first and foremost, a Nissan Maxima and a Ford Explorer are extremely different vehicles. They look nothing alike.
No, not at all whatsoever.
Please keep this in mind, okay? According to Pam, Betsy was going to tell Russ that night that she wanted to move back to St. Louis and live in her mom's old house, and she knew he was going to be like so angry about it because since he had such bad anger issues and a violent temper, she just knew he was going to be so upset. She also suggested that Russ purposely made Betsy not bring her keys with her. At first, she told investigators that she didn't go into Betsy's home, but she watched her go inside and left.
But she knew all the doors were unlocked and all the lights were off.
Yeah, but then she told detectives that she did go into the house, but only for a couple of minutes just to turn on a hallway light for Betsy. Oh, wait, hold on. She then told them that Betsy invited her inside to look at this new jewelry cabinet that Russ got her for Christmas, and the cabinet was in her bedroom. She went in, looked at the cabinet, tucked Betsy in with a nice little blanket, and left.
I'm sorry. Is this the case where Letitia learned she needed notes in her purse for her interrogation?
But wait, there's more. Betsy actually apparently walked her to the front door. So maybe she didn't tuck her in? She can't remember.
She cannot even keep her story straight from one telling to the next. It's like, at what point do they start making her tell it in the middle to like really trip her up? I don't even think they need to do that.
But she does remember getting home and calling Betsy to let her know she made it home safely.
Why would you call somebody that you tucked into bed?
Wait. Actually, she called her when she was almost home and they spoke on the phone. Oh, actually, wait. She called Betsy because she had no idea how to get home and needed directions.
What the fuck? Wait, stop. You're lying.
Did not.
You're lying.
I wish I could make this up.
She's lying. Lying.
I wish I could make this shit up. So you had been spending every day with this woman for the past 6 months, and you couldn't figure out how to get home? Make that make sense.
I mean, to be completely honest, I had to use my GPS to get to Kirsten's house for like the first like 6-7 times because I couldn't remember. And I don't have to do that anymore.
I'm proud of you for that.
And I also didn't have to Google Maps to get here today or last time.
I'm proud of you for that too, since you made a stop. You made a couple stops today.
Those were easy. Those were normal stops. But yeah, I also was a client at the current salon I work at for 2 years. And for the first like 2 months I worked there, it was very part-time, it was 2 days a week. I had to Google Maps how to get there. And I finally quit after a few months of work. So some of us aren't good with remembering where to go, but this was the 2000s, and you printed out your MapQuest directions if you needed them and kept them in your glove box.
See, my mom still prints that shit.
I've tried
to baby.
Please, like, I love Google Maps, but sometimes, like, when we go on a road trip to, like, Florida and stuff, or we go to other places, I wish that I could print my Google Maps just in case. And Dad, I know there's an atlas for this, but sometimes I wish I had the Google Map things. My dad used to make me use the atlas to get to basketball games in middle school. I literally had to use the freaking road atlas to drive from Franktown to Colorado Springs sometimes, okay? And into Aurora. He made me use the road atlas. So MapQuest was beautiful.
Amazing. Well, according to phone records, she called Betsy at 7:27 p.m. while she was down the road from Betsy's house. She changed her story again at this time and said she had actually pulled over at a fork in the road to make the call to Betsy, but she didn't pick up.
Is there even a fork in the road near this house?
I have no fucking idea. I didn't care to look. There's
Sounds like a job for Google Maps. I'm sorry.
Pull out the atlas. Anyway, so Betsy didn't answer the phone though, but she somehow made it home and called her son that lived nearby. And then she texted Betsy, but she didn't reply. So she assumed that Betsy was mad at her for leaving her home alone.
Why are we calling and texting somebody so much that we just tucked into bed?
So Pam decided to call Janet and tell her she was worried because Betsy wasn't answering any of her text messages. Janet tried calling her and she didn't get an answer, so she just assumed that Betsy was probably asleep at this point. I do also want to point out, Betsy literally had chemo that day. If you don't know what chemo does to your body, it's not good.
Yeah, you're weak. You don't have a lot of strength. Like there's a lot of people get sick that same day.
Yeah.
Like it's not a fun time. I have plenty of clients who are like, okay, I have chemo this day, so I either need to come and see you the day before or we need to wait like 3 or 4 days after because I don't have it in me.
It makes you so sick. Okay. Let's back up just a moment though.
Okay.
Because I'm going to give you an actual timeline.
Like what really happened and not her like 15 stories about what happened?
This is mostly, it's going to be phone records timeline.
So do we just have like calls and texts or do we actually have GPS data? Because I know that like 2011 GPS phone data is way different than like 2020 and now
so
phone
it's
data.
Definitely 2011 GPS.
So it's not like, and he moved his truck 35 feet and then opened the door and closed it.
Definitely not like that.
Okay.
So at 6:30 p.m., Betsy texted Russ saying she was getting a ride home from Pam Hut.
Okay. That's fact.
Fact.
Everything you're about to list is fact.
Correct.
Okay.
This is all phone records. Okay. 7 p.m. on the nose. Betsy's daughter Leah called Betsy saying she needed to answer her phone in about 30 minutes to authorize a cell phone purchase. Betsy did answer and spoke to her. 7:04 p.m. Pam and Betsy called Mark from her driveway and left that voicemail for him. Pam's cell phone pings down the road from Betsy's house at 7:21.
Okay.
7:21 p.m., Leah calls Betsy, Leah the daughter, to get the authorization. No answer. 7:26, Leah calls again. No answer. 7:30, Leah calls again. No answer. 9:40, Russ calls the police.
Okay.
So I know that was a jump, but that was the timeline. So if she texted Russ at 6:30 saying Pam's giving me a ride home, they show up at their house about 7:04. They were about 25 minutes away, which is about 25, 30-minute drive.
Yeah.
First and foremost, that right there indicates that there was no way that she went to Janet's house.
Yeah.
Played a game.
No, it's very much on the...
Yes.
Yeah.
Because Janet lived like not even 5 minutes away. Lived right there. And Russ was like 5 minutes away.
For her to not be answering the phone at all and for them to be making the phone calls in the driveway and then Pam down the road.
Correct.
Got you. Okay.
Correct. So keep that shit in mind.
We're with you. We're with you.
I don't have an exact time on when Janet called her, but if called Betsy, I mean, but if she called after Pam got home, it was most likely it would have been between 8 and 8:30 p.m.
Okay.
Okay. So Pam lived about 30 minutes away.
Okay.
Okay. So on December 29th, the cops go to interview Mark to corroborate Pam's story. Yay, good for them. Proud of them doing this.
I don't trust Mark at all in this, so...
Unfortunately.
You see? I could feel it.
Pam was in the room the entire time that they were interviewing Mark.
What?
So Mark answered that he was home all day on the 27th. He showed them that he missed the call from Pam at 7:04 because he left his phone in his truck, and he even showed them the voicemail. After that, Pam took over and started answering the rest of the questions for him. And the investigators were totally okay with it. But then she started adding information on. She kept saying how Betsy was afraid of Russ and they had a terrible relationship. Russ was always making degrading comments about Betsy, and he had a drinking problem.
They don't even work together anymore.
I know. She said that one time Russ gave Betsy a Gatorade that was a strange color, and she spit it out immediately. She claimed that Betsy had written an email about her, about how abusive Russ was to her, and that one time he put a pillow over her head, and she was just very, very scared of him. But she apparently never got this email. She also mentioned how Russ mentioned to her that he would be getting a lot of money once Betsy died. This is when she proceeded to tell the detectives about the events on December 22nd, 5 days before Betsy died. Oh. December 22nd, Pam and Betsy were at a tennis club, which is, I don't know why that's weird to me, but it was. And they spoke about the life insurance concerns that Betsy was having. So then, on December 23rd, Pam and Betsy went to a local library and asked the librarian to be a witness to a signature.
Is this real or just Pam's story?
This is completely real. They also tried to print the email that Betsy had sent to her, but they were unable to read it, send it, or print it. So the signature they asked would remove Russ as Betsy's beneficiary and make Pam the sole beneficiary. I almost said my own name. Did you hear that?
Yeah.
They left the library, went to the post office where they mailed the newly signed forms. The policy actually didn't make it to State Farm until the morning after she died. And the agent who received it decided to honor it. I do also want to point out at this time, Betsy's family, friends, daughters, and Russ did not know about the beneficiary change. Only Pam and Betsy knew. But detectives did end up telling the family while about the change while Pam was in her interrogation.
So did we talk to the librarian?
Uh-huh.
Did we confirm that it was actually Betsy doing this and not somebody pretending to be Betsy? So I feel like we're about to get the real story of the three little pigs. What the fuck's up with Russ?
What do you mean?
Is Russ not a lovely teddy bear?
Russ is a lovely teddy bear.
I'm so confused.
Are you still buckled?
Yeah.
Are you still buckled?
Yeah.
When the detectives asked her about if she killed Betsy for the insurance money, she said, quote, "Wouldn't I have made sure the policy change had gone through before I murdered her if that was my plan all along? Why would I have done that? There's no way I would have done that because if I really wanted money, there's several other family members that I could murder. My mom has a lot of money. My husband has a lot of money, and they all have larger policies, so I could have made a lot more from any of them." End quote.
Well, that's a really unhinged comment to make.
And the investigators were basically like, yeah, I guess that makes sense.
I mean, totally valid, but also at the same time,
So then they asked her why she didn't have any life insurance for herself. And she said she didn't need one. She didn't believe in having life insurance. But she did proceed to say, my husband has life insurance, and it's amazing he's still alive because it's worth a lot.
No, bitch, you just realized that killing one of your own family members would be too, suspicious.
Oh my God.
What?
She ended up correcting herself, and that email that Betsy sent was actually a document on her laptop.
Oh, like a whole PDF just zapped on over, not through an email or anything else, because in 2011 we had the ability to do that?
Yeah, totally.
Okay.
They never got a copy of this document.
I bet they didn't.
At this time.
Oh, does it exist?
We'll get to it. Pam was fully cooperative and provided any information they needed, including fingerprints, DNA, the whole enchilada. During her interrogation, when she was speaking to the police, she was very calm and collected. But when they would leave the room, she would go into this meditative state. To me, it kind of looked like she was dissociating a little bit.
Oh, okay.
She spoke very highly about Betsy, and she said she loved her to death. That's a real quote. They they did come in and told her that Betsy's family was very upset and weirded out that
Pepsi?
That Betsy changed Pam to the beneficiary, and Pam said she was upset they felt that way, and it really hurt her feelings. She said, quote, "I didn't put a gun to Betsy's head to sign the form, so why are they mad at me?" End quote. The detective responded, quote, "That is pretty normal. They are just angry because they're grieving." End quote.
I don't, okay.
But for some reason, everything that Pam was telling them was just making them more and more suspicious of Russ. The head detective on the case, his name was Ryan McCarrick. He believed that Pam was innocent and gave this statement, quote, "Based on the training and experience of dealing with hundreds of interviews with suspects and witnesses with victims, I do not see any signs of deception that would lead me to believe that she was indicating anything that was untrue to me." End quote.
Was he there from the very first?
Yeah.
Was he there from the very first little bit of her changing her story every single time she told it?
Yep.
Okay.
He would also even compliment her about how good of a friend she was, and she was just like, he was so far up her ass, I'm surprised his nose wasn't covered in shit.
Right? Like, what?
Yeah. So Russ's 10-hour-long interview the night Betsy was murdered, after his 10-hour-long interview, detectives took him up to St. Louis and they gave him a polygraph, and he failed. He was actually really upset about it, but police all believe that they had hit their killer, and this polygraph just confirmed it for them. On January 4th, Russ was arrested and charged with first-degree murder and armed criminal action in the murder of his wife.
But what?
This... Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. This caused all of his and Betsy's family and friends to be completely in shock. As you saw, how could he have done this to her after everything she had been through? How could he do this to someone who he built a life with? The media got a hold of this and kept running stories about how he was an alcoholic and they had an awful marriage. And this is what led him to stab his wife 55 times. There were so many stories about this that Betsy's friends, family, and her daughters were convinced that Russ had taken their wonderful person out of their lives.
What in the fuck, Sam?
It's gonna get so much worse. State Farm actually started looking into the policy because it was kind of like a red flag that it was changed and the main person died within days. So they reached out to Detective Ryan McCarrick, and he told them, quote, "Ham is not a suspect at all. You are completely good to give her that money." End quote. I hate this fucker.
Do they have like a personal connection, or is he just...
I think he just wants to bone her.
He's fucking stupid too.
Yeah.
Okay.
So unfortunately, guys, this is where we need to stop before things start getting really fucking crazy with trial and everything that happens afterwards. But trust me, you want to come back for part 2 because it's crazy. It's crazy. Trust me, trust me. So please make sure you come back next week for part 2.
Go ahead and make sure you are liked, followed, subscribed wherever you're listening right now. Hit that button in the bottom, up in the top at justice4podcast.com. So as soon as part 2 releases, you will be right back with us and listening to it because I am so excited to continue listening right now. I'm about to hear the rest of it and I'm so excited.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, you all have to wait till next week, but we will see you in 7 days. Have a wonderful week and we'll be back with you soon.
Yep. Okay. Love you. Bye.